maybe he's just not coming.
Yeah.
He probably has a fancy one now from TC, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah.
As long as they're not still here and they're covering them up.
Oh, Andy Brewer.
He's the township. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. And then who else is there?
So
That's Michael. So we can go down and just, yeah. Or however you
Oh,
want to
yeah,
sit
the
down.
black, the white box.
So it's not so bright on the day. There you go.
Yeah, I know, I'll turn that off, because I gotta turn the lights on. I think I'm okay, Jesse.
That doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, oh, okay. I'm not.
Okay, I think I'm okay, Jesse. Feel free to come over and hang out here. You have more trouble. You can't join it all. You can watch. You can't say anything.
That's me imposing it. The zoning board says to limit. My brain is.
Well, and it's the same, like, it's, at a certain point, people just become competitive.
Okay.
Yes, but
That's true. I think I did go.
It's worth
I've done this twice before, but the little camera didn't come up tonight. So. I'm just an engineer.
I'm just an engineer.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and plus Dave. Okay, so we're enough of a forum. So Martha, are you gonna read the roll call?
Yes.
So we don't have Gaston tonight. You just don't have to read his name. You don't have to read it out loud because he's not here. And we don't have Maggie tonight. And as of now, we don't have Michael Cohen. I know I didn't hear, but I don't know if he's coming or not. He's not here.
All right, so you're gonna read your thing first.
I will start mine, I'm just running through that. We haven't turned on anything yet, but I just wanted to.
Okay,
We're all doing this together.
Record button.
Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, then everybody can turn on their mics. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, town hall, and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at the town hall at 7:30 p.m. on March 1st, 2023. Roll call.
Corey Miller.
Here.
Allison Canfield. Here. Michael Cohen.
Not here. He's not present.
Deborah Nevis.
Here.
Sujatha Sean.
Here.
Srini Vijay.
Here.
And David Cosgrove.
Here.
And myself.
And that's all.
Here. Thank you, Martha.
That's all.
Thank you. And thank you to Martha for stepping in. Eileen, our secretary, is not with us tonight. And that said, we are all doing our best and doing fantastic. Thank you, Martha. I will specifically note to that end, I'd like to start off the meeting by mentioning the application that was listed on the agenda, which did remain on the website until later this afternoon, still retains application 22003, the Annie Milburn Partners LLC. The notice was printed and posted on the door this evening, and as I mentioned, updated on the website as it will be carried, but I would like to, and I apologize for it not being on the website earlier, in part due to our secretary not being with us this week. But I am formally announcing that we will carry it with a required additional notice.
Yes.
It is, the notice was part of the reason why we are not hearing the application tonight. So the application will be noticed for our March 15th meeting. Yes. In 2 weeks. And so we will move this application to that date, and it will not be on our agenda for this evening. Thanks, wanted to cover that at the top. Next, we can move to the approval of minutes from February 15th, 2023. They were circulated electronically. For those in attendance at the meeting, by an opportunity to review. Did anybody have any corrections or questions or changes? Okay, I move to approve the minutes of February 15th. Do we have a second?
Second.
So I made the motion and Mr. Biller made the second to
Okay.
approve the minutes of February 15th.
Okay, so Corey Biller,
I'm just gonna do an all in favor. I just
Oh,
wanted
okay.
you to get that for your notes.
okay.
Fantastic. All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Any opposed? And if any were absent, they would abstain. Srini, were you
I
with
was
us? You were absent,
absent.
so you would, yeah, you can abstain. Sorry, you too, Deborah. Okay. We will move on to our item of business for this evening, which is ordinance 2633-23. This was the amendment to development regulations and zoning ordinance specifically pertinent to the Canoe Brook area, the RMF AH5 zone. So we, as a board, received the language of the ordinance, proposed ordinance, and we also received a planner's report by Graham Pedo. Graham, are you here tonight in the capacity of answering questions, or were you going to give any sort of summary? I don't know what
I'm
this.
here at your service, so.
Great,
answer questions.
fantastic. Maybe if I could put you on the spot and ask you to do a high level overview, kind of the intro section,
Absolutely.
and ultimately the conclusions that you drew. I think that would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, it's on. Okay. Good evening, Chair, members of the board. My name is Graham Pedo, Principal of Topology and serving as the board planner this evening. As the Chair correctly introduced, the RMF AH5 ordinance for the Canoe Brook Country Club on referral from the Township Committee. This was introduced, I believe, their February 10th meeting. I forget the exact date. February
To the TC.
to the TC, yes, and the referral was made at that meeting to this body. Consistent with the municipal land use law 40:55D-64, the governing body sends that ordinance here, and it is your job to review the ordinance for consistency with the master plan. I will refresh the memory of the board members here this evening. This is an ordinance that you actually reviewed last summer. The Township Committee did previously introduce this ordinance and did not pass on second read after the consistency review here. Since that time, the ordinance remains unchanged. So this is an ordinance to establish an overlay for the RMF AH5 zone at Lot 1 in Block 5304. Details permitted uses of apartments and related accessory uses, including parking and loading and other sustainable site features and residential amenity space. It includes bulk regulations for area and setback, and establishes a maximum permitted density of 8 dwelling units per acre. Requires that no more than 50% of the units may be age restricted. It also defines an on-site affordable housing requirement set aside of 20% of the total number of units, and requires that all units must be developed to conform to the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. In addition, I just want to note that this is consistent with the Township Settlement Agreement with the Fair Share Housing Center for compliance to provide affordable housing. With respect to relationship to the plan documents that you all have here at the Township, this is consistent primarily with the Township's housing element fair share plan, which was adopted by this body in July of last year. This proposed zoning change is included in that plan on page 24 of that plan element that you all adopted. Any other questions? I'm happy to
I
answer.
do have one question. As you mentioned, and I know we have a number of new members to the board this year. So
Yes.
this was one of a number of ordinances that came before this board last year.
Correct.
At which time we were asked to make a determination whether it was not inconsistent with the master plan or inconsistent with the master plan. And that is sort of this consistency test, which is the double negative test. At that time, if memory serves me right, we had not yet adopted the fair share housing element of our master plan. So at that time, we declared it's not consistent with our master plan because it wasn't at that time.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, you are correct. The adoption of the housing element fair share plan came after the
Right.
first wave of these affordable housing overlay
So
ordinances.
This ordinance came to the board, we reviewed it at that time, it said, okay, it says what it says, and it says what it has to say per the settlement agreement, but we're looking at our master plan and it's not consistent because we had not yet updated our master plan. Now we're in 2023, we have updated our master plan to reflect what the settlement agreement
In
requires.
terms of the settlement,
So
correct.
thus, the same ordinance before us now,
Now is
it is on that, not inconsistent with
Correct.
the master plan that we have adopted.
Yes.
From that perspective. Okay, thank you for
Sure,
that
sure.
characterization and the summary. I just thought it would be helpful. to
Absolutely.
Why we've seen this one thing, but not the others, the others did advance.
Yes,
the past. Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Petto?
I just had a question. Second page, last paragraph, you mentioned objective 1.05. I can give it to you here.
My report. I have my report.
Oh, your report. I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
have
Yep,
my-
yep.
Mhm. Yes.
So, and this goes to Beth's comment a minute ago about it, when it was looked at last time, it was not consistent. 105 is not a new objective, is it?
No, this is not a no objective.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mr. Cosgrove is referring to the last page of my report, makes reference to the objectives of the 2018 Master Plan Reexamination and Update Report. And Objective 1.05, as it states in that 2018 report, indicates that a goal or objective for the township is to create the realistic opportunity to provide for the township's fair share of the region's affordable housing.
Okay.
And at that time, yes, that provision was contained in here last summer. That was in my report. However, the prior housing element fair share plan was also in place, which did not include that. So that's where the inconsistency.
Understood. Yeah, the only reason, one of the reasons I'm asking is 1.05 has been used in the past by the board here
Yes.
to agree with something that's inconsistent. For instance, the Silverman, this was used as an I'll call it an excuse, but as a tab to hold on to. But thank you.
Sure.
That was it.
Absolutely.
Another question, Chris?
Yes, so in section 2, item D, it refers to the setbacks.
Just pull the ordinance up. You're referring to the ordinance itself. Section 2, item D, area and setback regulations. Yes.
So it talks about 10% of lot depth, width, and 20% of depth and so on. When I looked at the zoning map, I couldn't pick up the dimensions of the lot itself. So could you help us understand what the dimensions are and what they would translate to in terms of actual linear feet?
So the requirement is, if you read the first section here in subsection D, is that the minimum tract area for development is 100 acres. So you'd have to first define a second portion of the property that's at least 100 acres and then define that area. It's hard to speculate on what those dimensions may be with the configuration of the property and how things will be arranged. But the requirement is 10% of the lot depth and 10% of the width.
So the 100 acres itself would be a subset of block 5304, lot
Yeah, the
1.
minimum tract to develop any of this would be 100 acres.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great, thanks.
Did
Yes.
you say that this was not adopted by the township committee in the February 7th meeting?
I was referring to last summer.
the last one,
Yes,
okay.
yes, no, this was approved on introduction at the township.
Right, so they introduced it, it comes
It
to
comes to
us, we have an opportunity to provide comment or consistency review, and then they will have what is called the second hearing
With the public hearing.
with the public hearing,
Correct.
exactly. You're right on. Been doing this for a while. Okay, other questions? Okay, given what we've heard tonight and what Graham has presented and responded, I move to, I guess, have us write a report or note or respond back to the TC that ordinance 2633-23 is not inconsistent, AKA consistent with the master plan. I make that motion. Does anybody second that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. And Martha, we can do a roll call vote on not inconsistent.
Okay, Corey Biller?
Agreed.
You would say yes.
Yes.
Should
I have to say yes to the
It's
not
yes,
inconsistent.
yeah, but yes, I agree with that motion.
Okay. Let's just bust here. Allison Fairfield?
Yes.
Deborah Nevis?
Yes.
Sujata Shah?
Yes.
Srini Vijay?
Yes.
David Casco?
Do I need to vote on this one? Since you've got the,
Well, Beth's all first, so Beth.
You would vote, yes, you
Okay.
vote first.
Yeah,
yes.
and Beth's
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, so the board's recommendation, we will relay this to our secretary, will be to in turn relay it to the secretary of the TC, that the planning board's review resulted in a decision of not inconsistent with the master plan.
Just to let you know, I got a phone call from the clerk today, and she knows that Eileen is out, but she wanted me, she said, can you just let me know what the results are, because I get to get in the packet to the township committee.
You may want to know, thank you, and this is on the public record, it is, yeah,
But Eileen will write something, so there'll be something in the file, but I'm just
as
gonna call
required.
Christine with results tomorrow, so she can put it in.
Thank you,
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay.
We have no further orders of business this evening. We can be excited, but we're gonna have some great conversation and dialogue on some upcoming future meetings. The next planning board meeting will be held, as noticed, we have an application already on the agenda for the 15th, and now we have deferred or delayed the application 22003 to the 15th as well. We will begin it if we're able to. So we will be meeting here Wednesday, March 15th, same place, same time, 7:30 p.m. at Milburn Town Hall. I move to adjourn. Can I have a second? Deborah gets a second.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, meeting
Aye.
closed.
It's got to be a record, huh?
It's like 3 in a row.
We're going to pay for this, you know that.